Hello, everybody. Before we get into the video, I just want to let you know to use my code in my bio to get 30% off Trident DFS's premium sports betting picks. With that all said, let's get straight into our Week 12 NFL predictions. We're starting off with Thursday Night Football. The Pittsburgh Steelers traveling into Cleveland to take on the Browns. The Steelers are favored by 3.5 points here. And as much as it pains me to say this as a Browns fan, I'm taking the Pittsburgh Steelers minus 3.5 here because after we got blown out by the Saints last week and Taysom Hill just completely owned our franchise, I'm ready for us to just tank for the number one overall pick. And as much as I love Jameis, I don't think he'll be able to get it done against the Steelers. Yeah, that's all I really have to say. Just not very hopeful in terms of being a Browns fan right now.
Yeah, there's really not a lot to be hopeful for other than just like the idea of Deshaun Watson being off that team potentially in the offseason.
Yeah,
I
if
don't
they
even
can
know
move
if
his
that's
contract.
financially. They're gonna just have to I don't even know what they're gonna have to do, but he couldn't even they couldn't even do like a Russell Wilson thing. They couldn't even just say like, yeah, we'll eat like most of his salary and you give him the vet minimum, like because nobody would even like there was still some like value in Russell Wilson, even though he had looked like shit for a while at his previous two stops.
Because
Like Deshaun Watson,
yeah, he's got character at least.
yeah,
Deshaun
there's
does
not even like there's not even like any reason why someone would like want to like take a shot on Deshaun Watson and try to like salvage project him. He's irredeemable. There's nothing like he doesn't. There's no appeal to him at all.
Yeah, we should just trade Deshaun away to the Giants for Daniel Jones. We'll just trade one bad contract for another, even though I think Daniel Jones is better than Deshaun.
Anybody's better than Deshaun. You would be better than Deshaun. I'm taking Pittsburgh minus 3.5, even though I feel like this line it should be like Pittsburgh minus 13.5. It feels like a somebody knows something kind of line, but
Yeah.
I just can't trust the Browns. I mean, they just got blown out by the New Orleans Saints, and the Saints are, they got an interim coach, and I guess it's really showing how bad Dennis Allen is as a coach.
Yeah, maybe Darren Rizzi is just going to be their new head coach.
I mean, they've responded to him 1-2 straight, but
2-0.
I can't trust. I know it's a rivalry. I know the line's close, but I just can't. I can't talk myself into taking the Browns at all. There's just there's nothing I could say. So I'm with you on Pittsburgh minus 3.5.
All right, let's move down to Minnesota taking on Chicago. In Chicago, Minnesota's favored by 3.5 points. For some reason, I'm actually very inclined to take Chicago here. I think now that they fired the worst offensive coordinator in the NFL, their offense actually looks pretty decent. And
good point.
I went from fading them last week by picking the Packers to cover that 5.5 point spread. Now I'm actually reverse fading, and I'm definitely trusting the Bears here. I know that's a very hard sentence to say, but they have all the pieces to be a good offense, and the play calling looks so much better. They're getting quick passes, running the ball. The O-line looked better against the Packers, who have a pretty good pass rush.
Yeah, they're a decent defense.
So, with that being said, I just think that the Bears will be able to keep this close. I don't know if they'll beat the Vikings, but the Vikings are a weird team, and they looked very impressive to start the year. Then they've kind of looked trash, and now they're looking decent again. Obviously, beating the Titans, who are a good defense, but I rate the Bears defense just as high as I rate the Titans defense. So, yeah, going with the Bears here.
Okay, I'm taking Vikings minus 3.5. I agree with everything you said about the Bears. Their offense looking better. I just think the way they lost that game, getting a field goal block, because the Packers are just, the Bears are just the Washington Generals to the Packers, Harlem Globetrotters. Like nothing good will ever happen to the Bears. They Caleb Williams did everything he could in that game, to bring them down the field in position to win the game, and you get a field goal block because you're just losers. You're genetically losers, and the Packers are genetically winners, and they're like, you just can't even change it. It's just in your DNA. I don't know. I just think after that, I think like Eberflus maybe just lost the team. And I feel like, I don't know. I just kind of could see the Bears just kind of giving up, letting go of the rope. I hope not. I obviously, because that's my team. But I don't know. I just feel like there's going to be some sort of at least a hangover from that game. And the Bears will not really be that competitive. That's my gut feeling on the game, and I know I like to fade my gut feeling, but I don't know. I just, when you just lose so many games like that, and I mean, what are they on, a 4-game losing streak right now?
Yeah, they were 4-2 to start the year, and now they are what, 6-4, or in a bad way, not in a good way.
No, 4-6.
Yeah, that's what I meant. 6 losses and 4 wins.
Yeah, so you lose the Commanders, Cardinals, Patriots, Packers. Yeah.
I mean, they should have won that Commanders game. That Tyreek Stevenson just deserves to be in Pelican Bay.
They should have won the Packers game. And see, the thing is, this is what I'm talking about. After the Commanders loss, you get blown out by the Cardinals. You get blown out by the Patriots. I think there was a hangover there.
I think maybe it's just Eberflus though. It's kind of hard to blame it all.
He's still the coach,
or not? What's his name? Waldron. I just name associate Eberflus and Waldron as just bad in my head. So
Ed Eberflus is the Shane Waldron of head coaches.
Exactly.
He definitely is.
I thought they should have fired him. I mean, last year. I don't know why the hell he's.
I was just saying they shouldn't have even brought him back.
Yeah.
They shouldn't have even brought him back for the season.
Mm-hmm.
They should. You getting a new quarterback, just start off with the new coach and off. The fact that they didn't bring in Cliff Kingsbury in some capacity is just insane to me. But
weren't they talking about it? I thought they were talking about it too.
Yeah, they were, and he wanted to come here because he was the offensive coordinator at USC when Caleb Williams was there.
That's what I thought.
So he was like. He wanted to follow Caleb Williams to Chicago. But I'm pretty sure it was just the Bears just being cheap, not having money. And they're like, no, we're going to hire Shane Waldron, the guy who was fired by... Yeah.
Good luck.
Like, JSN is like thriving, dude. He's like having his breakout. Like he's ascending
100-yard games, dude.
Yeah. Like
separated by
him and Gino.
No,
he's been going crazy lately.
Yeah,
he's free of Shane Waldron.
We'll get to Gino later,
but yeah, let's move on.
All right, moving down. Detroit is traveling to Indianapolis to take on the Colts. Detroit is favored by 7 points here, which is pretty small line compared to 14 points that they had last week. They had a dang college football spread last week. With that being said, taking the Lions here, because even though the Colts played very close with and won, obviously they beat the Jets, but played very close with the Jets. I don't have a lot of confidence in Anthony. I like to call him Shitchardson. In starting against the Detroit Lions, who have looked super dominant, especially against bad quarterbacks. And I mean, this team, the Lions right now, this is like the point where they'd start to coast because of how good they are, but they're not coasting. I mean, they're dropping 50 bombs on people. And I mean, the margin of winning that they have each week is just so insane that, I mean, they're
beating people like Alabama beats Middle Tennessee State.
And I mean, they should be the real undefeated team. I know Baker's my guy, but like that was their closest game, was really that game that they lost to the Bucs in week 2. And I mean, They are what the Super Bowl winning team looks like, not what the Chiefs look like right now. We'll get to the Chiefs later, but that being said, yeah, going with Detroit, they're just such an impressive team, and I have to fade Schitcherson even though he had a decent week last week.
Yeah. I mean, dude, yeah, the Lions are like putting up '07 Patriots numbers on everybody.
Yeah,
Like, dude, an NFL team like to lose, it's like I don't think people fully understand how hard it is to beat an NFL team 52-6. And we know like the Jaguars suck and the Lions are really good, but like they are just on another level right now. And I'm glad that the Chiefs finally like lost a game so people can just stop like putting Chiefs at number one in the power ratings and you know what I mean?
in
For
my
power
mind, they've
rankings.
never been number one. Like they've never
But
been the
like
best team with even if they're
no,
undefeated. They've looked
no,
so
the Lions have
bad.
clearly been they've clearly been the most dominant team all season long, the Lions.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They have the
And
offense. Like the offensive skill on their team is 10 times as much compared to the Chiefs. Besides Mahomes, and even Mahomes is looking like shit this year. So there's that.
yeah, well, yeah, well, what and we'll talk about the Chiefs later, but I'm actually gonna just take the Colts +7 in this one. It doesn't feel good because again, the Lions have been beating everybody by 45 points. Um, I don't know. It just feels like the line should be bigger. I think Indianapolis kind of has a pretty good defense. Not that it really matters against the Lions, but I don't know. Maybe Detroit slips up or something. I just feel like -7 is such an easy pick, so I'm gonna just kind of like fade that rat line. Feels kind of like somebody knows something sort of line there. So I'm just gonna go with Indianapolis +7 and
Okay.
just hope it works.
All right, let's move on to New England traveling to Miami to take on the Dolphins. Dolphins are favored by 7 here. Um, I'm going with New England here, purely for the fact that Drake May is my quarterback of the class, like my favorite quarterback of this draft class, and he just has looked really good. He had that one interception really late against the Rams, but he was playing very well. Um, I really think New England has actually kind of turned a corner and they're looking good now with Drake May as their starter. They look better and better every week with him. Um, and as much as I think the Dolphins have been looking better with Tua back, um, I mean, you guys beat the Raiders by how many points? Like 15 or something. I think it was like 30 something to 17 or something. I don't know, but it wasn't a
Yeah,
very
it's
impressive.
not like that.
Oh wait, 34-19. I wasn't really impressed with them beating the Raiders because, I mean,
But they were also, yeah, they were up, let's see, 10-6 at halftime, 17-12. So they were only at five. They were only at five going to the fourth quarter.
and then they got a bunch of fluke, like last minute touchdowns, Eagle style. Um, no, I'm just much more impressed with the trajectory of New England, and I like their defense. I've never been a big fan of their kind of washed cornerbacks that they have in Miami. They got obviously washed up. Um, Jalen Ramsey, Caterco, who's nothing new. Nothing new. He's not terrible, but he's not great. So yeah, just going with New England here.
Um, yeah, I feel like these teams are kind of both ascending, like the Lions or the Dolphins are getting better since getting Tua back. Obviously, they're a completely different team. The Patriots look like they're um, you know, better and better. So I do feel like it's a smart pick to take New England +7 because both these teams are kind of trending in the right direction. So it should be, a little bit closer of a game. But I don't know. I don't know. Miami's pretty good. And, the Patriots have what's his name, Christian Gonzalez, but um Dolphins have Tua and Waddle, and I mean, gosh, nobody can really.
Waddle overrated,
Or
dude. He did
Tyreek,
nothing.
yeah.
Last week he
Waddle
had like
had
two
that one
catches
good
for
season.
10 yards.
Yeah, I had Waddle in fantasy and last year, and yeah, it was not a fun experience because they only throw it to Tyreek Hill. But we've seen Waddle have really good seasons,
Yeah.
or at least one really good season. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Miami -7. I don't love it. I actually kind of like a lot of your reasoning, but um, I don't know. I just think overall Miami's a better team. Honestly, like Miami's defense isn't that bad. Um,
Yeah,
so
they got Chop Robinson. They got
yeah, they
Buzzword
got cool
Robinson.
name guy.
uh, yeah, let's move on to another NFC game. Tampa Bay traveling to MetLife to take on the Giants. Tampa Bay's favored by 5.5 points, and I'll just get straight into it. I faded Tampa Bay 2 weeks ago against the 49ers because I was afraid
I
that,
believe it.
yeah, I was afraid San Fran would be goated. Um, but now, as much as I love Tommy DeVito, I think the Bucs are going to get back Mike Evans this week. Baker's got a week of rest. I love teams off the bye for the most part. Sometimes I don't, but I think this was a team that really, really needed a bye with all the injuries and shit stacking up, and just they needed a break. They had a ton of close losses. They're going to go out here. They're going to smoke the Giants. Baker Mayfield's throwing for 400 effing yards. Sue me. Taking the Bucs by 5.5. I'd take the Bucs by 10.5 if I could. Yes, I'm going with the Bucs here.
2 words, dude. Tommy Cutlets.
The passing.
We are fully riding with any and all Italians. The Darren Rizzi. We're on the Darren Rizzi train down there in New Orleans. That's his name, right?
Darren Rizzi.
Yeah. Italians just come in, when the situation's just horrible, like Dennis Allen leaves a horrible situation. You bring an Italian to clean it up. Daniel Jones just couldn't get the job done. Got to bring in an Italian to clean it up. I think the Giants being at home, I think it's starting to get colder up north a little bit. Maybe it'll be colder up in New York. And yeah, I'm gonna take the Giants to cover the spread here. I know Tampa's coming off a bye, and Tampa's clearly a better team, and New York is just really well. They really don't have a whole lot going for them at all. But I don't know. I just think there will be a Tommy DeVito bump, kind of like there was last year. Obviously he's not going to be like the quarterback of the future or anything like that, but it might be good for one inspired performance. And to be honest, I don't even think they're going to win. They'll lose like 24-20 or something like that.
They will. They will win at some point, I think. But I don't know about this game. I think all signs are pointing towards the Bucs coming out and trying to make a playoff push. At least to me.
I agree.
Who did the Giants play that they just looked like their defense looked terrible? Oh, it was
everybody.
It was the Panthers,
Eagles?
dude, and the Eagles. But yeah, dude, their defense looked so good early on this year, and they just looked bad. More.
Well, they are bad.
Well, I mean, their defense was good
horrible.
at one point. I mean, wasn't it first in sacks or whatever? I mean, they were getting pressure, and they won that game in Seattle because their defense and special teams, for the most part.
Actually, so the Giants' last 3 games lost 2017 to the. Oh, that was the London game. So the Giants are coming off a bye as well.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, but they lost to the bye. They lost to the bye. the Bucs won the bye, and the Giants lost the bye. It's very simple. Let's move down to an NFC East matchup. Dallas traveling to Washington to take on the Commanders. Commanders are favored by 10.5 points. I'm going to keep this short and simple. The Cowboys effing suck. I'm taking Washington by 10.5. I'll take them by 23.5. Like they lost.
I was going to say, yeah.
Whatever they lost to the Texans last week.
Yeah, you could give me Washington -20, and I'm still taking it. The Cowboys have nothing, nothing. They're so bad, dude. Cooper Rush, and I know you didn't really watch that game last night, but Cooper
Yeah.
Rush is awful. I mean,
I
dude,
saw his
he's like
turnovers.
he's like underthrowing guys on like 10-yard passes, and also nobody on the Cowboys can catch a football. Um, I'm not sure. I know Zach Martin kind of got banged up in the game. I don't really remember exactly what happened there, but
Oh, if they're
yeah, the
missing him, that's
Cowboys.
not good.
I'm not sure if they're gonna be missing him, uh, but he definitely got banged up, and I think didn't they say um, uh, Jake Ferguson? I'm pretty sure is out for the season.
He's got a
Or
concussion. So I
oh,
don't.
okay.
I don't know if he's
Is it-
gonna. He's probably gonna miss this week, because obviously he got a concussion on Monday night, but he
Yeah,
shouldn't be done for the year, all things considered.
yeah.
But
He's going to be out. I mean, like he's going to be out for a while, but we don't need to spend a lot of time on this game. It's
yeah, no,
Washington
that's about it.
-10.
Dan
Whatever.
Quinn
If the
revenge
Cowboys
game.
cover, oh, dude, that's true. I didn't even
Yeah,
think about
Dan
that.
Quinn
Oh
is
my
going to
gosh.
literally demolish them. This is
Oh
why
yeah,
this should be a 20-point spread, dude. This is going to
I
be
will.
a
Yeah, I will
blowout.
buy that line all the way up to
Yeah,
Dan Quinn. And honestly, dude, the Cowboys players might just be like,
just
yeah,
defecting.
we're gonna let Dan Quinn have this one because we would rather have him as a coach.
Yeah,
We wanted him. We wanted Dan Quinn.
yeah, they should have. I
So
mean, they should have went with him, but
yeah,
Jerry Jones
yeah.
wants he just wants a familiar face, even though Dan Quinn's been on the team for like 3
No,
years.
he just wants somebody that he can tell what to do. He just wants somebody that will never like disagree with him.
Yeah,
But let's move on to this next game because I
yeah,
think we actually are going to have a good little discussion about next game.
yeah. Let's Kansas City traveling to Carolina to take on the Panthers. Kansas City's favored by 10.5 points. Looking at this line, I mean, my first instinct is to go, okay, Kansas City. Yeah, we're gonna take Kansas City here, but it's kind of tough because they haven't blown anybody out this year. I mean, just looking at their wins, they've all been extremely close. Obviously, last week was not a win, lost by 9 points to the Bills, and then the week before that, they won by 2 points against the Denver Broncos, and they should have lost that game if it wasn't for Black
Yeah.
Magic. And then the week before that against the
Double
Buccaneers,
madness.
6-point win over the Bucs in overtime.
Which the Bucs. I mean, they should have just gone for 2.
They could have, yeah, that was a very winnable, 2-point.
And it would have been a 1-point loss or a 1-point win, right?
And then the week before that, they were favored by 10 against the Raiders, and they won by 7 points. I faded the Chiefs that game because I thought that spread was too big. And just going back one more week, this is their only big win, and it was against Kansas City. They won by 10
Kansas City
points.
beat Kansas City.
You can't against San Francisco. Sorry, against San Fran, they won by 10 points. So, I mean,
That was a lot of turnovers. That game was actually like closer.
Brock Purdy choked it away. Now the question is, do you think Bryce Young is better than Brock Purdy? And then you can have your answer. If you're a Brock Purdy truther like me, the answer is obviously no. But can you argue with results when they're 2-0, when the Panthers are 2-0 right now, and the Niners choked a game last week, and obviously they did beat Tampa Bay 2 weeks ago, really close game, but this is a tough game for me to pick. I'm gonna let you pick, and I'll come back to this because I'm still kind of deciding.
I'm taking Carolina plus 10.5. I know, like, the obvious answer here is, Chiefs bounce back after their first loss of the season to the Buffalo Bills, and they're gonna, they're gonna come out strong. I don't know. I think really the Chiefs kind of just are what they are at this point, and yeah, obviously Carolina sucks, but Carolina's kind of been playing. I don't know. I mean, we like buried them, left them for dead, and they have not been that bad. Were they on bye this week too? I believe they were.
The Panthers.
Yes,
Yeah.
they were. They
Coming
were
off
on
a
bye.
Won the bye week. They won the bye week.
They did win their bye week. They're coming on a 2-game win streak, obviously against some pretty awful teams. But
I think you've convinced me. I think I'm going to go Carolina plus 10.5 here.
Yeah, I mean something switched. Something happened when they put Bryce Young back in. I don't know, man. He hasn't really been like great or anything, but I don't know. I think they got some fight in them.
What I'm thinking is just I don't know, man. Mahomes, I'm kind of joking, but I'm also not. Mahomes is playing like a bottom 10 quarterback right now. He's not playing great. He threw a pick at the end of the game. He obviously has moments, like he had some big plays to Xavier Worthy, and what's his name, Jonas Gray. But I mean, so is fucking Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones has had big plays to Malik Neighbors and shit like that, and people still shit on him. Like there's only his track record to go off of, you know. And that's the same thing with Mahomes. You look at his track record. Oh, he's a good quarterback. You take all that away and just, what are you doing for me this year? Mahomes is playing like a mid-tier quarterback. I'm not impressed with him. At all this year, really. He's done more with less weapons in the past. Like he has D-Hop and Xavier Worthy now. And I think Juju and MVS are a worse combination. That was 2 years ago. Yeah, just not impressed with Mahomes. He's a bottom 5 QB. Take Will Levis over him all day. You and I were texting about that last night.
What? Oh, Will Levis?
Yeah, Will Levis. What did I say? I said Will Levis is over him. Drake May, Bo Nix. I'd take all of them over Mahomes. That's me memeing though. But honestly, they've been playing better than him so far.
I also think the Bills kind of like bullied them a little bit.
What I really liked out of the Bills was the fact that they said F it on that 4th down play and went for it when they could have kicked the field goal and gone up 5. Because if they'd kicked that field goal, what they would have obviously, Chiefs would have gone down and got a touchdown and the game would have been over. Because, any non-7-point lead is not safe against the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
And a 3-point lead is definitely not safe. It is the opposite. So I was so happy when Josh Allen ran that in for a touchdown because, we're able to finally get past the whole Kansas City hype, and they're going to promptly get blown out by the Bengals in the wild card round. No, that's not going to happen.
Well,
unfortunately, Bengals ain't making it. That's all I got to say about this game.
Yeah, I mean, dude, Buffalo really controlled that game. They never trailed. Buffalo didn't in second half at all. And when the Chiefs scored in the 4th quarter, the Bills just went 12 plays, 70 yards, touchdown. Like they did to the Chiefs what the Chiefs do to everybody else.
Yes.
Like they scored 14 on the Chiefs. They had a 10-play, 83-yard drive, 6 minutes.
Yeah.
And a 12-play, 70-yard drive, both in the 4th quarter, which is like that. You don't see that out of Buffalo, especially against the Chiefs.
I think the Bills are very.
And maybe
dangerous.
we're talking more about Buffalo than we are about Kansas City. Yeah. But I was talking last week about how the Chiefs can't keep getting away with the whole, games up for grabs in the 4th quarter, and we're just gonna make back 1 or 2 more plays than you do.
Yeah.
You give yourself such little margin for error there, and eventually you're gonna lose a game, and it might be in the playoffs. I know they haven't for a long time. What?
I'm really just hoping they just collapse like the 11-0 Steelers did, and they just lose the majority of their next games. It probably won't happen because they're the Chiefs, but
I doubt it because they don't have 48-year-old Ben Roethlisberger as their quarterback.
He's playing on par with Ben Roethlisberger right now. Actually, I think probably Ben had better stats through 11 games than Mahomes will. We're gonna have to do the comparison.
Ben Roethlisberger with 2 walking boots.
Once we get to, when the Chiefs have played 11 games, which will be this week, I'm going to do the comparison and see, precisely what the stat difference is between him and 2020 Big Ben, and I will have my opinion.
We need a deep dive.
You want to move
2024? Yeah.
All right. So we got Tennessee traveling to Houston to take on the Texans. I'm a notorious Houston Texans hater. Maybe it's because they blew out the Browns in the playoffs. Maybe it's because I don't think C.J. Stroud has been playing as good as I think he should be. But I'm also a Will Levis truther. As you guys saw last episode, I'm all in on Levis now. I think he's been playing better. He obviously had that one interception. But he also had a 98-yard touchdown last week, and I thought he's been playing cleaner football. And I expect him to continue improving. I don't know if I said the spread. 8-point spread. Houston is favored here. So I'm taking Tennessee plus 8 because I think Tennessee has a top 10 defense. I like their quarterback, and I think they're moving in the right direction. And Houston blowing out the Cowboys doesn't impress me because you're supposed to do that. You did your job, Houston. And I'm pretty sure C.J. Stroud still threw a pick in that game, if I'm incorrect.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, yeah. So there we go. Will Levis is top 10. Not really.
Yeah, the Titans have a top 3 defense, at least in terms of yards per play allowed. But the Texans are also number 4. So Houston also has a really good defense. When is Will Anderson coming back? That's what I need to know here, because Will Anderson is like
their heart and soul of the defense.
Yeah. But here's the thing. Houston's got Nico Collins back, and obviously he needed, he had 4 catches, 54 yards. Actually, Tank Dell also had 4 catches, 54 yards, both on 7 targets.
Yeah.
But Joe Mixon is playing like maybe the best running back in the league, not named Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
Like, Joe Mixon is running all over people. Every time I looked up that game yesterday, he was just busting loose.
He had 2 touchdowns, right? Or 3?
He had 3.
3, yeah, okay. Yeah, he did demolish them. But, I mean, Dallas has a very bad run D. I mean, Derrick Henry's able to run like 200 yards on them 5 weeks ago.
These defenses are night and day, Tennessee versus Dallas. But
I feel
like...
Wait, what were you going to say? Sorry.
Well, I was going to say, I feel like offensively, Tennessee's probably a little bit better. And actually, as much as I've kind of been talking up Houston, I am going to take Tennessee plus 8 because like we said, the defense for the Titans is just really, their defense is just really good. And I think it's going to keep them in games. Now, I have been saying this for a few weeks, and I thought it would be true against the Chargers, and they got blown out by the Chargers.
That was Will Levis's first game back, though, dude. Still a little rusty. And he didn't throw a pick that game, so... We're taking baby steps here. That's all we need. He's been improving every week.
I'm with you. We're on the same pick again for the 3rd straight game, I think. So I'm taking Tennessee plus 8.
Really quick before we move on, what I noticed about Tony Pollard last week, because I started him in fantasy, he didn't do a lot, but the O-line of the Tennessee Titans did not perform very well against Minnesota, and Minnesota's pretty good at getting pressure and stopping the run. I mean, I don't think any running back would be able to run in that, in that situation that the Texans or the Tennessee Titans were in. I don't think the Texans are going to be able to put as much pressure as, that Brian Flores scheme, because he's one of the best DCs in the league right now. I think Tony Pollard is going to have a bounce back week, and that's going to be a huge help to Will Levis. So that's another point for Tennessee there.
Okay, I kind of want to change my pick to Houston now,
Uh-oh.
but no, I'm just gonna leave it. I'm gonna leave it at Tennessee
All
plus
right.
8.
Let's move on to Denver taking on the Las Vegas Raiders. It's in
Okay.
Las Vegas. Denver is favored by 5.5 points. I'm gonna keep it really simple. Denver is improving every week. Bo Nix is improving every week. He's looking like the rookie of the year right now, especially with Jaden Daniels kind of falling back. He's not looking terrible. Jaden Daniels is. He's just not looking as great. And Bo Nix had 4 touchdowns, no picks. I mean, he can just do it all right now. He's looking like I said, looking like the rookie of the year. Looking like the Broncos have found their quarterback of the future. Sean Payton, legacy-saving moment. I don't like how the Raiders looked. I mean, they basically just fed Brock Bowers the ball, and it still wasn't enough to beat the Dolphins. So I think the Denver Broncos have a better defense than the Dolphins do, and I think they have a more trustworthy quarterback, to be honest, than Tua is, because Tua can shit the bed, and Bo Nix is a rookie, and he's had probably one of the better games than Tua's ever had. Yeah, going with Denver here. Fuck the Raiders.
I don't know about that, but yeah, no, Bo Nix had an amazing game, and yeah, the Broncos are 38-6 win over
The Falcons.
Falcons team that we think is pretty decent. Maybe a little bit overrated, not quite as good as we thought, but yeah, I'm gonna go with you here on Denver minus 5.5. I feel like Denver is a really hot team. They should have beat the Chiefs, obviously, except for the devil magic. Got them. So I'm riding with you on that. Denver minus 5.5, even on the road. I don't care. The Raiders suck, and the Broncos are red hot.
Yes, I think. I mean, we're looking at the possibility of the Denver Broncos making the playoffs right now, and it's looking more and more likely as the year's kind of going on. They might finish with 10 wins or plus. I mean, right now. But
I mean, I have to look at their schedule, but
we can talk.
I mean,
about
if Raiders, Browns, Colts, Chargers, Bengals, Chiefs.
I mean, they play the Browns next week on Monday night. Sorry,
they could get to 9. They could get to 9, and then I don't know. It all depends, but
yeah,
I could see them getting to 9, maybe 10.
Yeah. I mean, this is all just possibilities. If Bo Nix keeps getting better, yes. I don't think they're going to win the Super Bowl anytime soon. I mean, this is supposed to be a rebuilding year for them, and they're playing very well. So, I'm very impressed with Denver. You wanna move on to San Fran? You got any?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. San Fran's traveling to Green Bay to take on the Packers. Green Bay favored by 2.5 points here. I'm going against all logic, and I'm taking the 49ers plus 2.5 points simply for the fact that hopefully they get Kittle back. Losing Kittle hurts them a ton. Number one, CMC's going to keep improving, I think. And I don't know. I've just not been impressed with the Packers. I mean, they almost lost to the fucking Bears, so that's not a good sign.
Yeah. Embarrassing.
The 49ers are in a lot of close games. I could see them winning this game last second, like on a field goal, kind of like how they beat the Bucs, not that long ago, where the game's tied going into the fourth quarter. So, yeah, that's all I really have to say. I mean, both of these teams are kind of underperforming this year. Obviously, the Packers have a better record, but I don't think the Packers have looked as great as people thought they should be. So, yeah.
No, I don't know. I just think San Fran's broken, man. They're cooked. They're over the hill. Their windows closed. They're done, and they're still a decent team. And listen, I don't really trust the Packers at all, but at the same time, that was a completely new look Bears offense, and the Bears still have a pretty good defense, and it's a rivalry game, so those games are always going to be close. I think underrated aspect of this game is the Packers probably feel like they should have beat San Fran in the playoffs last year. And I could see, revenge game happening.
Yeah.
So I'm actually going to take Packers -2.5. I like that number. I feel like it's right under that little, the field goal margin. So I'm a fan of that 2.5 number. All I got to do is win by a field goal. And listen, I don't really trust either of these teams, but I'm taking the home team. I think it's just, I don't know. It's revenge time. It's revenge time for last year.
I could definitely see that happening. But like I said, I'm kind of going against my better judgment here. I'm kind of doing what you do, where you're fading your initial reaction. My initial reaction was to take the Packers, so that's why I'm doing that. Let's move on to Arizona, traveling to Seattle to take on the Seahawks. The Seahawks are favored by 1 here. Obviously, Seahawks have a huge win coming, last week. They're coming off this big win over the 49ers last second. Geno Smith rushing touchdown, which very good. And Arizona is coming off a bye week. And then the week before that, they beat the shit out of the Jets. Honestly, I was going to pick Arizona here, but I don't know, man. I feel like I don't know. Remember at the start of this year, I said that Arizona would be a playoff team, and then they had all these like terrible losses like early on in the season, and I kind of been out on them. And now they're actually beating good teams, and I'm still out on them. So I was thinking about fading them again and picking Seattle, but I don't know if I.
When are you going to join me on the Arizona train, bro? They're good,
dude. Like I said, like I was on that train early, like before the season started. I thought they had all the pieces, like Marvin Harrison Jr. and all that. I don't know what's making me not want to pick them.
Well, it's because it's a division game. It's in Seattle, which is normally one of like the toughest places to play. And Seattle just beat San Fran, and JSN is really starting to like make the leap. It feels like he's starting to like.
Definitely is.
It feels like he's like starting to like turn into like he's starting to like realize his first round potential and really start to like take over on that team and become like a 1B option next to DK Metcalf, as opposed to like the 2A 2B with behind
3, dude, behind fucking Lockett, like solidly last year.
Yeah, well, that's Waldron, just terrorism. But I mean, like Shane Waldron set JSN's career back a year, but he's like starting to like dig out of that hole, and it feels like he's like really. I mean, dude, you see like some of the plays he made against San Fran. Yeah. He had like 10 catches for what was that, like 100 and some yards, and like, dude, his route running is just very, very smooth, and he
big time.
So like that's another factor. So like Seattle is
I'm actually switching. I'm gonna take Seattle plus or -1 here. Gino, I'm not writing you off. I'm writing you back right now. I'm responding, and I'm picking you to beat the Cardinals. And I'm actually picking because I think it will make the division more interesting, because then it makes the Rams, closer to winning the division and all that. So I think this will just make the division more interesting if Seattle wins, and I think NFL is going to send in the script. So I'm going to go with Seattle -1.
Yeah, I kind of want to go with Seattle too, but I'm going to stick with my Arizona +1 pick. I think they're a legit team, dude. I think they actually are legit, and took them a while to like kind of figure out their identity, get Kyler Murray, back up to normal speed after, he missed two seasons ago with the AC, he missed like most of last season with the ACL tear. Came back, played for like a
6
pretty
games,
much a tanking team.
Yeah,
with a brand new head coach. So really kind of was a bad spot for him to be in. But this year, it feels like they're really starting to like come together under Jonathan Gannon. And last I checked, they're in first place in their division. So they still are, right?
Yes, they are. because the Niners lost and the Seahawks won, so I think all of them are tied right now, and the Rams won.
Yeah, it's the Rams at 6-4, and then everybody else is 5-5.
Oh,
Actually,
5-5. Okay.
San Fran is in last place in that division.
Yeah, because their only division win is the Seahawks. So they're 1-1 with the Seahawks. They lost to the Cards and they lost to the Rams off that last second, field goal by the Rams.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Niners aren't looking great. Like I said, good. Who does Goodell want to win this game? The Seahawks, because it makes the division way closer. So I'm going with my Goodell master plan theory, and I'm picking Seattle. Goodell's gonna rig this one in. You want to move on to the Sunday night game?
Yep.
Speaking of NFC West teams, here's one playing against an NFC East team. Philadelphia traveling to LA to take on the Rams. Philly's favored by 3 points here. I'm taking the Rams. I've liked how the Rams have looked. I was really impressed with how both Puka and Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua both played. They both played great. Cooper had that huge 60-something yard touchdown, the second of the day. Puka had a diving catch. What more can I say? The Rams are clicking right now. They got Jared Verse going off. Going against them, obviously, Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown. Eagles seem to be firing on all cylinders as well. I'm going to just take LA Rams +3. I think they might lose this game, although I'd like them to win. They could very well win it, but I think they might lose by a field goal, and within a field goal, very close loss. So I don't see the Eagles being able to blow them out, and I just see this as a really, really tough game for both teams. So I'm going to pick the Rams +3.
Man, I agree with you. And I originally had Philly -3, but I'm thinking about switching it. But I think I'm going to just stay with Philly. I don't know. Didn't the Dolphins went into the Rams building and won that game, right?
Yeah. That was the really ugly one that they had, but
that was the Monday night game a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I was very surprised by that because I picked the Rams.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't even think that game was as close as the 23-15 final score.
No, Rams scored a lot in the fourth quarter. I think it was all.
Yeah, I think a lot of the Rams, like they got Cooper Kupp back and like won a game or two, and then people were just like, "Oh yeah, they're going to the NFC Championship game," and I think that might have been a little premature to say that. Philly has a top. I mean, they have the second-ranked defense in the league in yards per play allowed. I like Philly's roster better. I hate to pick them because, we don't like Sirianni and all that, but I don't know. These teams, neither of these teams I trust, but I just think I trust Philly a bit more. I do feel like Stafford will be able to, make it a close game, but I could see it being like a 27-20 kind of game in favor of the Eagles. And I know it's kind of tough to go cross country to Los Angeles, but Vegas is basically telling you that Philly is 7 points better on a neutral field than the Rams are with that line. So, or like 6.5. So I don't know. I'm gonna go with my initial read here, which was Philly. And I know I don't like to go with my initial read, but I'm gonna stick with Philly on this one. Philly -3.
All right, let's move on to the Monday night game. Baltimore taking on the Los Angeles Chargers in LA. This is back-to-back LA games on at night. Baltimore's favored by 3 points, and in a normal world, I would take Baltimore favored by 3, but I am Jim Harbaugh pilled. I'm not John Harbaugh pilled. I think Jim's gonna get his revenge for losing that Super Bowl all those years ago. Um, obviously, he's kept his job with the Ravens since then, and Jim's kind of had a long road back to the NFL since then, playing for cheating Michigan. And
Yep.
but I like Jim, and I really liked their win against the. I mean, I didn't really like it how they won, but because they made that game way too close when they were blowing them out in the first half. But the Chargers found a way to win, and that's what's important. And I think they're going to do the same thing again against Baltimore. I mean, Herbert looked good in that first half. He looked pretty bad in the second half, but was able to make some big throws to Ladd McConkey when it counted on that last drive, and that's what I look for in a quarterback. So with all that being said, I'm taking the Los Angeles Chargers +3 here. Just trusting in Justin Herbert, trusting in J.K. Dobbins. It's also a J.K. Dobbins revenge game, by the way. This is the team that injured him, dude. This is the team that almost tried to derail his career. The Ravens did. So I think we're going to have a big game out of J.K. So, but yeah, with all that being said, going LA Chargers +3.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, J.K. Dobbins revenge game for sure. I'm actually going to go with you on the Chargers +3. I like them being at home. I also just don't feel like the Ravens, and I know I always just act like the Ravens are this unstoppable juggernaut because I just hate them so much, and I just assume that they're just gonna always just demolish everybody. But
yeah,
I mean, they just lost to the Steelers, and the Steelers are a very similar team to the Chargers. You know,
the Steelers didn't even score a touchdown. I mean,
yeah,
it was all field goals.
It's very obvious that the teams that know look at who has beaten, other than that fluke loss to the Raiders that the Ravens have. Look at who has beaten the Ravens: the Chiefs, the Browns, and the Steelers. The Chiefs are obviously well documented rivals. You know, with the Ravens, they see each other in the playoffs. They play in the regular season quite a bit. And then you have two division opponents. It's the team. This is what I've been talking about. The teams that play, and look at the Bengals lost by 1 point and 3 points. The Bengals probably could have beaten the Ravens twice. Everybody who actually plays the Ravens on a consistent basis and knows them, plays them a lot better than the rest of the league. Bengals 35-34, Broncos, they beat them 41-10. The Broncos are a decent team. They destroyed the Bucs. I mean, they destroyed the Bills. They destroyed the Cow. The Ravens just destroy the teams that aren't in their division or that are in the AFC or the NFC that don't play them very often. And obviously, the Chargers aren't in their division, but literally is coached by Harbaugh's brother. So you know that Jim Harbaugh is going to be extra amount of preparation, extra amount of, and like you said, I mean, why did Jim Harbaugh come back to the NFL? Because
he wants to win a Super Bowl.
Not only that, but he lost to his brother in the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. He had to avenge his whole what else is it? That's his whole thing.
Yeah.
It's his whole mission in life. And I really think that when you look at the teams that do well against the Ravens, it's the teams that know them the best. It's the teams that understand how they operate, what their plan of attack is. And I think, obviously, again, they're not in the same division, but this is like that. You know what I mean? With the Harbaugh brothers going against each other.
Yeah.
So there's not going to be any surprises here. There's not going to be any sort of whoa, this is not what we were expecting, blah, blah, blah. They're gonna be ready. They have a good defense. And their teams have shown that you can slow down or even stop Lamar Jackson. The Steelers have shown it. The Browns beat them. The Chiefs held them to 20 points.
Bengals
it can be
should
done.
Have beaten them at least once. You could give them one of those two games, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah,
Second
exactly.
One was closer in my opinion, but yeah.
No, the first one went to overtime, and the Bengals.
Well, that whole 2-point conversion thing, I really think they should have given them a redo on that. There was 2 big penalties that they just didn't call.
Yeah, but the Ravens they're a script team, dude, so they can just commit penalties.
Goodell just writes him a blank check every game.
Yeah. I just the Baltimore like mystique loses a lot of its luster when they go up against a team that actually is ready for them, and no team is going to be more ready for them than the Chargers.
I really think their biggest win over the Bills, I mean, you can just chalk it up to the Bills not being able to defend the run. I mean, because it was Derrick Henry really that killed the Bills that game. And I also think that was when the Bills were kind of suffering from they don't have a number one receiver, and Josh Allen really can't get going. And since Josh has gotten Amari Cooper, they've looked like a much better team and more fluid. I mean, they haven't lost since they've gotten Cooper. I mean, they haven't lost, period, since they lost the Ravens. But I'd really like to see them match up again in the playoffs because I think Bills will get a good win in the playoffs over, especially because Lamar chokes. But
and they're gonna have it. They're gonna see him again.
Yeah,
they're gonna. You know what I mean? When you see the Ravens again, most teams usually do a lot better against them. And now, because that kind of goes against what we were saying, you know, like Josh Allen not having receivers, and that's really the way that you beat the Ravens because their pass defense isn't very good.
Dude, Ladd McConkey looked dominant though.
I think Justin Herbert. I mean, Justin Herbert always just like shows flashes of just being like this insanely elite arm talent, you know. Although,
he plays like a top 5 quarterback most of the time. And then there's other times where he doesn't. But I mean,
sometimes his receivers are making crazy drops, like
Yeah, there were some drops. I mean, in that second half against the Bengals, but obviously, dude, we got clutch Ladd McConkey. What did he have? 130 yards. 123. Okay, I just looked it up. I mean, that is his second 100-yard game, and this is obviously a rookie. So, I'm looking at Ladd McConkey to maybe be the primary weapon against the Baltimore Ravens this week. I mean, they have Quentin Johnson, who I like as well. Also, Will Dissly had a huge game against the Bengals. I don't know if you saw, he had the touchdown and 80 yards on top of that, and that was like so. I think that there's not a shortage of weapons. Obviously, they don't have elite weapons on the Chargers team, but they have good. I'd say they have a very good offense. They don't have like one player that's like a Keenan Allen, for instance, that they lost last year. They don't have like one guy that can kind of take over a game type of thing. So that's the one thing that kind of puts them below the Ravens. Obviously, still taking the Chargers, but the Ravens have J.K. Dobbins, the Ravens have Derrick Henry, who replaced J.K. Dobbins, and Derrick Henry. For all those who thought he was washed, he's definitely not washed this year. I mean, he's still a game wrecker. Everyone knows what Derrick Henry is. I mean, he's basically probably going to get 2,000 yards this year as long as he's able to get some big games. I think he's got.
Is he still on pace for that, or
he's had 260
yards.
He's had 260 games, 60-yard games, past 2 weeks. So.
Oh no! Is he getting old?
He's washed.
Is he hitting the wall?
He's actually washed. Take everything back that I just said. He's washed now.
Those are division games, but
they didn't really use him as much in those games. But that's all we got to say for this week's games. You want to go into our underdog pick of the week and game of the week?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so underdog pick of the week. I'm gonna go with the same underdog that I picked last week. Tennessee Titans +8.
You can pick them to win.
Oh, actually, wait a minute. Yeah, that's right. Well, I was gonna try and go for a risky one, and like go for a big point situation. I'm definitely not gonna pick Carolina. But my choices are either between the Chargers. You know what? No, fuck it. I'm going to go New England. New England +7. Drake May, please save us. That's all I have to say.
All right. Well, I'm going to go with the Chargers then.
Oh, shit. Yeah, that's a good pick. That's probably the smart pick. But I'm at a deficit right now in terms of underdog points, so I kind of
Mm-hmm.
need a big play. So go. I just trust. I'm trusting in Drake May to continue improving.
Davis Drake may help us.
So game of the week. Uh, let's see. I mean, the my most obvious choice, I would say. Well, not most obvious, but I think Arizona versus Seattle should be a very, very good game. Um, I don't know what
Mm-hmm.
the over under is, but that 1 point spread and just a divisional game, and they're kind of fighting for that playoff spot. I mean, basically, no team in the NFC West is really out of the playoff race at the moment. Um, Although it's not looking great for the Niners, but I think that should be a great game. I'll list that as actually my game of the week: Arizona versus Seattle. Um,
Yeah, that's going to be a good game. I agree. That's going to be a banger of a game. Um, yeah, to be honest, a lot of these matchups don't really look good. But I bet I have a feeling, and I know I picked the Rams at Patriots as my game of the week last week, and I'm just kind of like I don't know. I feel like Philly versus the Rams is going to be kind of wild. Like I
Me
don't know. I
too.
just have a feeling like the Rams games are just like crazy.
I think really they kind of solidified themselves in that close game territory after they had that overtime win against the Seahawks 3 weeks ago, was it?
Yeah,
Um, I mean, that was just super impressive. Super impressive win by them. And that's really where all the hype started coming around was they won that game really. And people were like, okay, they can actually do something here. Uh,
yeah,
Also, them
yeah,
beating Minnesota was a big deal too. So we can't throw that one out. They did beat the Vikings.
yeah. That's true.
I do
That
think
is true.
a slept on game that could low key be a shootout is Tampa Bay versus the Giants. I mean, we could see just depending on how banged up the both defenses are that we might see Tommy Cutlets and Baker getting into a shootout type of game. Um, I mean, crazier things have
Yeah.
happened.
Wow, I'm picking Giants plus 5.5.
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
my low key
those
slept on game of the week.
yeah, sleeper game of the week. Tampa Bay versus New York.
But I don't have the balls to pick the Giants to win outright.
It's tough. You got to see how Tommy DeVito looks first, because who knows? Maybe he's regressed. He's been watching too much Daniel Jones, and he's regressed.
Yeah, instead of like learning from, like learning and developing behind a quarterback, he's just like regressing
It's
behind
getting worse. Yeah,
Daniel Jones.
he's
He's
like,
just
oh,
like,
that's how you
oh,
do it. Okay,
yeah.
that's how you throw an
He's like,
interception in the red zone. Perfect.
okay, 6, 6, 6. All right, cool. That's good.
Yeah.
He's just like learning all the wrong things from Danny Dimes.
How do I trip when I'm way ahead of all the defenders and I'm about to run in for a touchdown? Oh, okay.
Also,
That's
I shouldn't score. Okay, thanks for that.
yeah. Tommy DeVito. Tommy DeVito's actually gotten worse. Honestly, really quick before we end the video, I'm surprised Tommy DeVito's starting over Drew Lock, because I feel like if you want the best chance to win, I feel like Drew Lock, gives you the best chance. But that's just my opinion.
Uh, well, I think that might be the exact problem, and this makes me afraid now
Oh, you think they're
for
just
my
tanking?
Giants, for my Giants pick. Yeah,
Well, dude, if they really were just tanking, when they just keep Daniel Jones in, as somebody who likes Daniel
no,
Jones,
because it was something like with an injury guarantee, wasn't it?
oh, I so you
It
think
was
they're
like
they're still tanking, but they just want to
save
pretend like they're
money.
trying to.
Yeah,
It's like a double thing. Like they're trying to save money, and it's like, oh well, look, we benched Daniel Jones, we're trying, and they're really
and they
not.
know, yeah, they know that
Yeah,
like all the like Tommy DeVito's. It's actually a pretty genius move because I'm pretty sure. Let me look up the Daniel Jones injury guarantee.
is it kind of like the Matt Ryan
Uh,
situation like 3 years ago, or like if he got hurt, like his whole contract's guaranteed or something like that?
I think so. If Jones were to suffer a serious injury over the final 7 games, it could activate a $23 million injury guarantee for next season.
Wow.
Yeah, 2 years remaining on his contract after this year. So whether he's not on the team, this is the argument for sitting him down to avoid a situation in which he does get hurt, putting the Giants on the hook for that money. So I really think you're kind of in a genius spot with the Giants here, even though I think Joe Shane's a total loser. You're tanking. You're saving money. And you got the hometown favorite, Tommy Cutlets, there, so the fans are going to be into it and filling up the stands. So it's like a stealth tank.
Yeah, it's like you're appeasing the fans, and at the same time, you're actually kind of fulfilling all your goals by saving money and losing games. I mean, at this point, if I'm on tank watch right now, the Browns are on tank watch, the Giants are on tank watch. Carolina, Dallas, Las Vegas. Those are all teams I think are in the running for the first overall pick. I would say New England.
Well, Jacksonville currently has it.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't even say tank watch for them. They're on fire the entire front office watch because they're probably gonna fire whatever Doug. They're gonna fire everyone. They're gonna fire Doug, Peterson,
I thought
Trent,
he was getting fired after the Lions game, dude.
and Press Taylor. I think they're firing all three of them. The only thing that is salvageable is their defense. Their defense is obviously not against the Lions, but overall this year I've been pretty impressed with their defense.
Jaguars?
Yeah.
Their defense, I don't know.
Hey, they got three picks on Sam Darnold 2 weeks ago. They made that game close. If that was Trevor Lawrence, they probably would have won that game.
They ranked dead last in the league in yards per play allowed.
Well, I mean, I'm just talking about individual pieces, dude. Like Travon Walker, dude. Travon Walker.
They've allowed the most points.
Well, it's hard when your offense is so bad. And
that's true. But my thing is also like I wouldn't really want to. This year sucks to tank, dude. I don't like. Dude, you want to take Travis Hunter, number 1 overall?
No.
The guy who's been playing both sides of the ball. He's also tiny, Travis Hunter. He's not big.
I know a lot of people are like, oh, do you want a cornerback? Do you want a wide receiver? Well, take Travis Hunter. You get both. Like, no team is going to play him both. You don't. Both ways.
Right.
If you want a good cornerback,
take 50% of his value away.
Yeah, like he's got to commit to one or the other.
This sucks. I'm looking at Tankathon right now. Travis Hunter, number 1. I wouldn't touch him. Shedeur Sanders, I wouldn't draft him at all. I think I
do think the Raiders are going to take him. Because you see how he every time the Raiders lose, he tweets out "Thank you, God." Have you seen that on Twitter?
Good. I seriously hope he goes to the Raiders.
He's basically like the perfect Raiders quarterback. Like,
yeah, he's gonna definitely just like get caught up in the Vegas life and try to
athlete.
Yeah, he's awful. Like he's so overrated. The whole Colorado system is designed around just making him and Travis Hunter look good. It's like Cam Ward.
I like Cam
Ward. No, dude, I don't think. I mean, he's decent, but he also makes a ton of like terrible decisions. They got the 2 Michigan guys. I do like Mason Graham, the defensive tackle for Michigan, but Will Johnson, the cornerback, that guy's basically been like stealthily sitting out the season.
He's quiet.
And he's like quiet quitting because Michigan sucks. And also, I've seen him get cooked so many times, and I feel like nobody actually like watches him play. It's just like reputation alone.
He's just winning off aura. Is what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. I'm telling you, I would take Jalen Milroe as my number 1 quarterback off the board. Tankathon now has Quinn Ewers as a 2nd-round pick. I think Quinn Ewers is like this year's Bo Nix. That's who
I like Quinn Ewers, and I liked Drake May and Bo Nix last year. I did really like Jaden Daniels last year too, or this year's draft, quote unquote. But I was never a big Caleb Williams guy. I think I said that. I did not want the Bears to take him, but like do I really know more than a GM? Am I, like me saying all this stuff, like I was like, oh, Drake May should be the, better than. I mean, I was saying this during the football season. Remember, I was like, I think it was, who did North Carolina come back and beat? They had like some sort of comeback win, and I was like, dude, I would much rather have Drake May over Caleb Williams. And I don't know, maybe Jared Mayo said that shit, and that's why they took him. But I mean, obviously the Bears, Eber Terrorist and Shane Waldron didn't think so, and they wanted.
Yeah. He's whatever. I don't even want to talk about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, bottom line is this is not a good year to tank, dude. It really isn't. You're tanking for the two Colorado guys who I feel like Colorado's just a Ponzi scheme, dude. I would never do that, man. That's just.
Well, so if the Raiders take Shedeur Sanders, do you think they're gonna fire Antonio Pierce and hire Deion Sanders just to like complete the trifecta, and like?
They might, because the Shedeur Sanders Ponzi scheme will have to continue somehow.
Yeah.
If they don't have a coach whose only goal is to just make his son look good.
Dude, what if they just trade away Max Crosby for the first overall pick, and they take Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders back to back? And then they hire Deion. They just turn into Colorado, Las Vegas Buffaloes.
They have basically just set their franchise back a decade.
Yeah. They trade Bach Bowers away for
Travis
Hunter.
Let's get rid of him. Get rid of him.
Trade away
Dude, Bach Bowers, he did the Trump dance. He didn't tweet about Shedeur Sanders' new song. So he's not a good culture fit, dude.
Yeah, he's gone. He's gone after this year.
Yeah, get him out of here.
He's actually underperforming. He needs to be having 200-yard games, not 130-yard games. That's 70 yards under projection. Other than that, I think we've gone over everything for these predictions this week. I want to thank you guys for watching. Make sure you drop a like, hit the bell, and subscribe. Thank you all, and I'll see you in the next one.